Welcome to Virtual Scale Modelling for my next build. I'm building the Italeri Hawk Scale 172. Now, I am not doing it in this colour scheme from start. I'm doing it in the typical British camouflage, so from the 1980s. It's a basic kit from Italeri. There's there on the back of the box. It's their choice. And it comes with two options for British and Australian. This is the Australian paint option here, which is kind of cool. But in the box we have the instructions. Comes with your normal sprue plan and paints. The instructions look fairly well, nicely laid out. It doesn't come with a decal for the instrument panel, so you have to paint that in. And there's your two different options there. On the decals, a limited set, one for the Australian, one for British and common markings. The sprue, there's two sprues. The chairs look nicely moulded. The fuselage could probably do with a little bit of scoring for the panel lines. I'll decide whether to do that later on or not. And the canopy. The canopy looks a bit buggered, to tell you the truth. That will need a good coat of clear, I think, for it to polish up. So, saying all that, let's get into the build. So to start with, I'm painting all the base colours in, and also I'm painting on sprue. So first of all, I'm using Revel Aquacolor 43 medium grey, and this is for the interior, for the sidewalls of the fuselage, the cockpit and the instrument panel. I'm using Revel Aquacolor 08 matte black, and this is for the controlling stake at the top, as well as going to be for the top of the seats. Revel Aquacolor 61 emerald green, I'm using this colour for the very top of the seat. On all the picture I've noticed there's a sort of greenish colour at the top, so that's what I'm painting in now. Revel Aquacolor 17 African brown is the colour I'm using to paint in the seat belts. Now on the chair the seat belts are really well moulded, so it's worth putting in a bit of detail here. Tamiya's XF 56 metallic grey. I decided to use this as a two-tone effect on the instrument panel. Then I used Tamiya's X2 white to fill in the dials, and just tiny little dots. And it's back to the 43 medium grey to paint the sidewalls of the fuselage. Doesn't need a lot here, just a little bit. The assembly of the cockpit was straightforward. Have you ever assembled any of these kits before? You know sometimes it can be a little bit fiddly and tricky, but this one went together very well. Next is scoring the panel lines on the fuselage. They were a little bit shallow for my liking, so I'm just taking my Tamiya scorer here and just going along the lines, doing it gently. Try not to go off track while you're doing this. You don't want to actually score and gouge the plastic around it. The cockpit fits in rather well, and you may have to jiggle the back plate a little bit to get it into alignment. The location point for it is not 100% accurate, so you may just have to push it up or pull it, so just to make sure it's connecting with the back wall of the fuselage. And once you've got the cockpit in the correct position, it's time to glue both fuselages together. Now you can either do it by putting the cement on beforehand or using the capillary action down the seams. Both methods work well. I'm using Revel Aquacolor 08 matte black just to paint in a little bit of detail. I will be going over this after all the sanding and everything's done, but it's just as a placement really to show me where I'll be going. Cementing the two halves of the wings, fairly straightforward. The location points work well on this. Just make sure it is pressed on quite firmly because they can pop out. Once the wings are dry, it's time to place them in. They are very tight, so you may have to press down quite firmly to get them in position. The upside that is that you won't need any filler. The rear wings are on. Now these can have a lot of movement on them, so just make sure you get them lined up properly. Sometimes when I do it, I forget to line them up properly and they can be a bit wonky. I'm using Revol Aquacolor 68 dark green RAF, and this is for the canopy. Again, I'm free painting the canopy, freehand painting the canopy. A lot again on the sprue. Now, if you've never done this before, it does take practice, and you won't get it right the first time. But just go slow and steady, and you should be fine. If you do make a mistake, I say this every time, but if you do make a mistake, don't worry, you can just rub it off with a cocktail stick and it will come off easy enough before you varnish. Don't do it after you varnish because it won't work. For the band across the canopy, I'm using Tamiya's X2 White, and it's a sort of sweeping band. It curves with the canopy, so you have to be extra careful when you're painting this. But again, use the cocktail stick trick if you do go over the lines, or of course you can use masking tape if you prefer. I'm using Revol Aquacolor 57 Grey for the front part of the canopy. Now, depending on what scheme you're going to be painting on this model, it will dictate what colours you're going to use on your canopy. Back covering of the cockpit is going on. Just make sure you get this in alignment again. I didn't, I had to revisit it. Placing on the rear exhaust port now, and this was painted in Tamiya's XF56 metallic grey. It just pushes on, shouldn't have any problem here. Next assembly was the air intakes, just two halves cemented together. You can pre-paint these if you wish before putting them on, but they go on fairly easily as well. You know, just a little bit of glue and slide them up to the contact area. Going on to the underside of the model now, I'm placing in the covers of the landing gear. There's two options to have it, gear down, gear or gear up, and this kit actually supplies you with the two options for the covers as well, so you don't have to worry about trying to fill in any gaps if you're having to use the covers on the open position. For the closed position, they're already there for you. And once I put them on, it was time to put on the rear stabilizers. There's no location position for them, you have to do them by eye. I'm using an Airfix 172 stand to display it, so I'm taking my pin drive and just drilling the holes for that. A lot of tape. If you're wondering where to put the holes, take the piece that's going to go inside, dip in a little bit of white paint, then mark your model. That way you'll know where to drill. And then once you've made your hole, I just put my hobby knife in and just twist it around until I've made a hole big enough to receive the holder for the stand. Next are the fins for the underside of the wing. Going on, there's one or two of these to put on. The plastic's quite flimsy on these, so just be careful you don't break them when you take them off the sprue. Now I'm putting in, I can't remember what these are called, but there are little loops that go in front of the wing. Now depending on which series you're building a Hawk, it will dictate how many of these you're putting on. And back to the top side, I'm putting on more aerofoils and fins. These have got location points, so they're quite easy to ascertain where you're going to be putting them. Now this version has two stabilizing wings, fins on the tail, depending on what series you're going to do, whether you're going to have these or not. This is for the later stage. The earlier stages don't have them. Again, on the later stages, there's two little extra support wing things here that go on, which I'm just placing on now. I was originally going to build this kit in an earlier version, but I decided to go for a more modern version. So now I'm painting the front probe, and that's getting painted in Revel Aquacolor 90 Silver. Just the tip of the probe. The base is going to be the colour of the actual scheme that you're painting for the main model. Now everything's dry, I'm putting on the main colour. So this for the bottom colour is Revel Aquacolor 57 Grey. Now I'm trying a new technique here. I'm using a stipple brush, which is a harder brush meant for weathering, and I'm putting it on and just dashing it around to see how that effect works. Now I had a little bit of success with it. I worked okay on the bottom, but it was camouflaging on the other side. It was okay, but it could have been better. So the Revel Aquacolor 57 is going to be the base on the top of the model as well. And before I go on to the other colours for the plane, there's a little section that goes inside the canopy here, like a little perspex partition, which I'm placing in now. Now the instructions sort of say you can put it in the cockpit before you put the canopy on. I've tried this before in other cases and it just doesn't work. So it's better to place it inside before you put the canopy on. Now this is a really tight fit, so you don't really need any glue, but if you do wish to glue it in place, I would recommend a canopy glue, and Formula 560 it is really good for this. It dries clear, so you won't fog up your canopy. Back to the main camouflage now. So the colour I'm using here is Revel Aquacolor 68 Dark Green RAF. Now you can see I'm using the stipple brush here. This is a smaller one from I used with the grey, and as I said, the idea is to put it on in a wispy effect, really trying to make it look like it's been airbrushed on, you know. And as I said, it did sort of work, but the leading edges of the paint were too erratic. Some of them I had to go back for a normal brush just to tidy up. Some of the parts I didn't actually miss, which you'll see at the end of the video, and it stands out quite a bit. But I don't mind you showing it because it was a new technique I was trying out. Something I'll have to revisit, I think. So I may build a test model and just play around with it, see if I can get it right. But you can get practically the same effects with using really thin layers of paint with a normal brush, and you just put the paint on your brush, take the majority off, so there's only a tiny bit left on your brush, and brush it on. This works well, that technique, with yellow. It's more difficult with the darker colours, you know, but persevere if you want to give it a go. Now the paint's dry, and just putting on the front probe. There's a nice little location point for this, and now I'm just repainting the front heat panel, and that is painted with Aquacolor 08 matte black. And as I said earlier on, the initial paint was just to give me a guide to where I was, see what was going on, but now it's just the finishing off, because inversely you're going to get paint actually on this when you're painting your colour scheme, so it's always wise just to go back and touch things up. Next to go on is the canopy. I put the main piece on first before the front piece. Always test fit it to make sure you're going to be putting in the right order. It's just that putting the main piece on first gives it a good line for the front piece. Sometimes it is the other way around. So there's the the front piece going on now, and I will say this canopy fitted excellently. You know, sometimes these canopies are really poorly fitted. This one was brilliant. So now it's all dry, it's time to put in a bit of varnish, and I'm using Pledge Clear Polish or varnish. You can get this at any of the leading supermarkets. It's an acrylic varnish, so it works perfectly for models, and it's a lot cheaper option than the custom-made varnishes you can buy for this type of thing. You know, it just makes more sense. Why buy a small tiny pot when you can buy a big huge bottle for a little bit more? You know, it makes a lot more sense. So now it's time to put the decals on. I didn't put them all on because of the version I was doing, so I just put on the basic ones. Again, it's purely down to choice how you want your model to look. And now I'm going to bring this build to a close. Now that the decals are going on, I'll put another coat of varnish on once that's dry as well. This kit is a really good kit. I have a love-hate relationship with Italeri kits. Sometimes I get a good kit, sometimes I get a bad kit. More often than not, they're medium. But this one was a really good one. So I would recommend this for beginners and experienced mod builders as well. Yeah, each builder can get something out of the kit, and it wasn't too expensive either. So it's a good place to start, really. So thank you very much for watching. If you get a chance, why don't you check out my other videos on the channel? I'm sure there's something there for everyone. If you have any comments, feel free to post them. I'll try to get around to them as soon as I can. You can even subscribe to my channel if you wish. But for now, thanks. Bye bye.